Look at that, there's an all-new electric vehicle coming, and this is the Cupra Born. It's a sibling of the Volkswagen ID.3, so they use the same all-electric platform, rear-wheel driven. But you can see here, they have a sportier approach. Look at this front with the typical Cupra copper accentuation. But I think, my favorite feature is here the Cupra lettering in copper again, and this lip that really looks almost kind of supercar-alike. And then once again, copper accentuation in a lower spoiler right here. The sensors are neatly hidden behind this area. So what a cool sporty look. So the Volkswagen ID.3 looked more like, very van-ish alike. This one, almost supercar look in the front. Also with the full LED lamps here with the daytime running light. And the interesting thing is here, this concept started out to be the Seat Born. So Cupra then, being the sporty brand of the Seat Corporation, they said, why don't we make it a little bit sportier and then put it as a Cupra brand. And Elborn, see it here in the background here, city of Barcelona. Elborn is a quarter of Barcelona. A very interesting approach, making the Volkswagen ID.3 sportier. And it's also even more interesting because they want to be a little bit more global. EU is the core market, but they also want to export it to Mexico and Australia. They're looking into the markets. And if you want to see this one here in the US, and put it in the comments, and maybe they think about it. Look at that here, the side profile. Short hood because of this, EV long wheelbase using the interior. 20-inch wheels, pretty massive in this, I would say, disc brake style. They start from 18-inch. These here are the biggest one. The color is called Aurora Blue and it's really fitting both exterior and interior. It's a nice nuance in this color. Dropping line here at the side, and this is a very interesting design element. Look at that. Here, looks like a very aerodynamic design element at the side, really catches your attention. So they paid a lot of detail to the design, both exterior and interior. The interior will be striking, also look forward to that. And then it's a very strong C-pillar right here, and this stamped in style, you can really feel these design elements right here. Soon we'll also talk about the range and so on. Let's first finish our design, and I'm looking forward to your comment. What do you think about this all-new EV already from the looks? Wow, the copper accentuations for the Cupra here work extremely well, especially with the blue vehicle color. And here at the rear, you can see the light strip goes all around the vehicle in the rear. That's really fancy. And then you can see a strong bumper in the lower area, diffuser style, like a race car. That's where Cupra Cup Racing all, initially comes from. Once again, the Cupra Born. This will, of course, be the place for the real number plate. Top speed will be 160 kilometers an hour for the base horsepower version, and then for the higher horsepower version 180 kilometers an hour or 112 miles per hour, and that's already quite reasonable for an electric vehicle. There's an interesting option because you can get the tires optionally a little bit wider. Also, you can see it right here already, quite massive. And when the tires are wider, then you will also have the option to turn off the ESC. And this is a rear-wheel driven car, remember that, with this platform. And when you then can deactivate the ESC, you can really have a lot of fun with that. Of course, rather on closed roads and so on. Yes. And now in our dark room for today, you can see the light signature. Really spectacular. However, the turning indicators here, I've activated the hazard lights at the moment. They are not that spectacular. And when it's dark and you activate the key fob, look at that. Ooh, there's a nice light play here at the side. Also on the inside, that's really fancy. When you close it, here we go. Ooh. And at the side, ooh. The puddle light. Well, okay, I did this shade or fading in effect here because the light comes from right here. Oh, cool. Look at that. I got a Cupra logo on my hand now. I got the Cupra logo on my hand. That's interesting. And here, look at that. There's an entry, also illuminated. Now we've moved the car out to the sun, that you can also see more of these nuances from the blue color. Now you see more crystalline effect. Also right here, that's very interesting. Lengthwise, 4.32 m or 170 inches. It's a little bit longer because of more overhang here of the Cupra Born in comparison to the ID.3, but the wheelbase is the same, as I said. Interesting that suspension-wise, it comes base with a sport suspension, optional DCC adaptive suspension. Then it's always lower than the ID.3. That's very cool. In the front, 50 millimeters lower. In the back, 10 millimeters lower. That means it leans a little bit forward to have a sportier touch. That's what you, for example, do in aftermarket tuning quite often, that you have the front a little bit lower. That, you know, makes a more aggressive appearance. Very interesting. And yeah, look at that. I think design-wise, this is really, really well done. And my favorite part is really that front. And look at that here in the sun. You can even see these power dome situations a little bit better. Hey, and we also have another color here for you, so-called mist gray. It's more like a matte effect. It's not entirely matte color, but it's a mix of shiny and matte. I think once again the front looks really striking and also works very well together with the copper accentuations. Here on this vehicle we are also having 20-inch wheels, but they are in different styling, so also to give you some more variation. And well, since it looks so sporty, how sporty does it drive? Different horsepower outputs available. 150 horsepower, 204. We know that already from the ID.3. But then here, especially for the Cupra Born, there's an optional e-boost performance pack, and that brings horsepower figure up to 231. And then the acceleration figure is 6.6 seconds or 7 seconds, depending on the battery size and of course the weight. And look at that setup here, right? That's nice. There will be an optional heat pump available with this vehicle, and that reduces range losses in winter times. Very important to go for that one when you are in a cold climate, not maybe necessarily here in Barcelona. This is the car key, high gloss black. That might collect some scratches. Cupra logo here. Then keyless entry and door closing sound. That sounds solid, really cool. Then inside of the doors, two small let-offs. First of all, hard pack material on the top part. Then we have these, you know, somehow feelless controls of the side mirrors. We also criticized that in the ID.3 here. Then you have to look at it like where it's left or right. But what's cool here, first of all, the integration of the ambient light, nicely done. And then we have a lot of microfiber Dynamica used together again with the typical Cupra copper essence. That's really fancy. Then look at that. Here the floor mats, also with a special, you know, nice detailing here, really cool. And this is also then from recycling, also has a recycling badge here. So great idea. They're also working with a special collective for ocean plastic use. And here, look at that, these bucket seats are standard. That's also a great move. Only that in the normal base version, the middle part would be in fabric. And optionally, you can go here for the Dynamica microfiber, once again with the special structure inside, and then of course with the microfiber surface. What's better? Well, this looks more exclusive, looks more premium, feels also really premium. The fabric surface would be a little bit more breathable. Maybe, we have to see about that, but in both cases, it's definitely more breathable than slick materials. On the outside, then you have some leatherette use, and they also have a badge brand here, recycled vegan microfiber. So you see great steps forward, and then they will complete also with the steering wheel later on. So, I mean, this is really awesome sporty atmosphere, and I really like the copper accentuations. They keep it throughout the brand. You can see here capacitive buttons in the steering wheel. We know we don't have too good experience with that. You see here that disappear when the car is off. Then they light on again when you turn on the vehicle. There we go, here, and then it's illuminated. To control them while driving, that's not that ideal, but it looks quite fancy at least. And getting inside here now, these seats, they look really sporty, look really fancy, but are they also comfortable? That's the question, and I can already tell you, yes, they are indeed. And you don't sit too low in this vehicle because they're also quite voluminous, these seats, so you have a good view to the front. Here in this case then on the city of Barcelona. I mean, what a great view we have here for you. And yeah, indeed, they serve both purposes. They look sporty, they also keep you tight. Then also on the microfiber surface you don't slide too much, but at the same time you don't have the feeling like you would be in a, non-everyday driving life suitable sports vehicle. It is somehow, a compromise of, you can also use it in everyday driving life. So I would have expected maybe a little bit lower seating position, but I mean, for most customers it will be better because getting in and out is quite easy. Here, headroom, 1 meter 86 or 6'1". Let's see if I'm really in lowest position. Yeah, here we go. So that comes quite close. You shouldn't be too much taller actually. You might remember the VW ID.3, which felt budget-alike, in a lot of cases. But here, look at the amount of detail work they put into this vehicle. First of all, soft touch dashboard right here, also with a structured surface. Then this stamped-in surface right here, interesting, matte style. Copper accentuations, once again, also at the air vents. And this is very interesting here. When you have the blue microfiber seats, this dashboard here on top part, even a little bit soft, is also in this blue nuance, in this Aurora blue shade, also fitting to the exterior color. The same as here for the middle console, also then in blue. You can also get the microfiber seats in gray, in this case, and also in the base version. This part and this part will be in black. So really good that it corresponds to the individual interior color. 12-inch screen here, by the way. The ID.3 had a 10-inch screen. They said Cupra is a driver's vehicle. That's why we want to have the screen bigger, that when you drive faster, more or sportier, that you can still see things better. It's really interesting arguing about this. Yeah, really, really interesting. And on the left side, we have a small digital instrument and steering wheel up and down, in and out. And you can see here the digital instruments move together with that. Why have they put it that small? You cannot change that much in these instruments as well. You can have information for the adaptive cruise control or speed limit or something, but not so much else possible there to adjust. A little bit with a view like this, but that's basically it. Why? There is the head-up display. It's huge. An option, and it works with the augmented reality function, as we know from the ID.3, that you have like arrows in your line of sight. That's why they kept this one here rather simple. Putting in the gears is possible right here, reverse or drive or park. It's actually quite simple and easy, and you'll get easily used to it. Interesting, or very important, driving modes at the steering wheel right here. And this overboost function, if you over that for the highest horsepower figure, you either get it when you do a kick down with the throttle, or when you hear this direct hotkey to the Cupra mode, then you also get the highest horsepower output. Yeah, also very interesting to do that. Soon a separate take on the software of the infotainment system. Let's finish up the interior here. Once again, nice blue work here. It's a very soft surface. Also here, for your knees, left and right. So when you're shaking, and some videos of mine, they have passengers, and then when I'm driving sporty, yeah, busted, then it's soft when you hit the knees right there. Here, slide this one open. Cup holders are adaptive. Cubby holder in the front. Key will always shown to you. And then we have also a nice microfiber surface here for the armrest. So you can slide it back or forward like this. And then when we put it up, there is an inductive charging pad for your smartphone. Check out the rear interior. Also hardback at the rear. That's of course more simple, but at least they have also some kind of structure in there. You also have the same floor mat structure for the rear, and also the microfiber used for the seat, once again in this bluish color. And there's no middle tunnel. This is of course using then the EV platform properly with 2 USB-C chargers as well. So how's the seating position? You see that the bench goes a little bit backwards. That's on the one hand for some less comfortable, others say it's better. I think it's not that good. I prefer when it's more upright. However, you have enough legroom here. This is the seat as I would be sitting right there, 1.86 m or 6'1". So that's actually a lot of space in for a small vehicle. And headroom, that again is a little bit close. So when you approach like a 190 or 6'2", then it will be more critical. But here in this case, then cool view through the panoramic roof from the rear. And since we have no middle tunnel, it's easy to move to the middle seat, and it's also easily possible to sit right here. It comes a little bit closer because I had more kind of a single seat setup, but it's also okay to sit on the middle seat. Overall, it's really comfortable and also very well usable here in the rear. So let's flip the logo right here to open it. And there we go. So very well usable. You see here there's a step to get all of the height in. The normal length here is about 32 inches or 80 centimeters. The width also about then 1 meter or 40 inches. And below here, some more space for equipment, but barely. So they used all the space already here to get a height below the cover, almost 60 centimeters and 23 inches. A little bit more overall height, but that's already quite a lot. I have a better impression here with the backpack inside. Here we go, and I already folded one part of the seat, so it's a 1/3, 2/3 split. And here we go, and to the seat is I would be driving See around 160 centimeters or 64 inches. So overall very well usable, although we're still a small vehicle, and that's again using the EV platform properly. Under the hood there is sadly no frunk whatsoever. Same also with the VW ID.3, but we can still use this setting here to talk about the battery and the range. So there will be 3 different battery sizes available: 45 kilowatt hours, 58 kilowatt hours, or 77 kilowatt hours net. Well, and then the projected range figures for the middle battery, when we have our experience from the ID.3, more like 400 kilometers or 250 miles, and for the bigger battery, probably more like 500 kilometers or 300 miles, something like that. And that's actually quite okay for a vehicle of that size. Of course, not as efficient as the Tesla motors, but at least you can very well work with that already. So, well, no frunk, but at least we have some nice power figures. And interesting also with this e-boost function that will be available for the mid-sized battery and the bigger battery. And because the 58 kilowatt hour battery is a little bit lighter than overall, therefore that one has the best acceleration figure of this 6.6 seconds. And well, this is here what you call wireless charging, because the wallbox is real, but of course this, this pillar is fake. So that's our original wireless charging here live at Autogefühl. Whatever. What about the charging here? Then the figures will be, even if it's fake now, 11 kilowatt AC like this, or with the DC option like this, 125 kilowatt DC. That could be a little bit faster, but so far for this size of vehicle, we can also say it's more or less enough. It's not super fast though. The smaller battery will a little bit slower in recharging, but I can tell you that most will probably go for the 58 kilowatt hour or then even for the biggest battery. Since the range figures are not so cool yet, best is probably then to go for the biggest battery. I hope you enjoyed our presentation here today from Barcelona. We could maybe bring a little bit light in darkness for you, both with car entertainment and a lot of information. So stay tuned in our channel. See you next time.